this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is openly embracing it. He's openly using its catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon.
The Sound of Freedom does focus on a real issue, but that theme, it's sort of like that kernel of truth that feeds the QAnon conspiracy theory.
Sure, and the most durable conspiracy theories are not entirely false, but the believers point to the one true thing and they say, oh, you don't believe that this particular thing is true. We know trafficking is real, but these films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics.
What level of moral depravity you have to descend to get on national television and actually attempt to discourage people from seeing a movie exposing international child sex trafficking that you admit exists?
You have a lot of people who are in this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is...
Ladies and gentlemen, Burn Loud Show, welcome, 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 welcome. I'm not doing the normal intro that I normally would do when I do an intro, because this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is what we talking about: a dominant takeover. Something when I started this little right here, and I was like, man, we always gonna bring you the receipts. And most likely, we brought y'all receipts. We always bringing y'all some of the best receipts. This is talking about a movie that's dealing with sex trafficking, the things that we know that are actually happening in America, things that we are afraid that our children may end up going through, that terrify parents to sleep at night. I say this because I seen the movie. I actually watched the movie, Sounds of Freedom. I just got done watching it, actually. And I'm not gonna lie to you when I say I was morally disturbed. It was disturbing to watch the movie and how truthful it may be. It was very truthful. It was very hardcore. It was very, very factual down to some things that you may not agree with, or you may not think that should be put on camera. And that's where a lot of people are starting to say and see and talk about now is, oh my God, that shouldn't be on camera. And it's really discussing and talking about things that truly matter to us and you and me. Like, if we didn't think these things matter, then we wouldn't technically take ourselves through it. We wouldn't go through it. And that's why I came here. And I'm actually doing it on my page. I'm not actually doing it on my live page. I'm actually coming on here and doing it on my regular page instead of on my podcast page, because I do want to try to get this out to a bunch of people and get the word out that this movie needs to be watched. It needs to be seen. It may be a little disturbing to y'all to see some of these images that's in this movie, to see a girl and a little boy get separated at a very young age. I think they're like 8 or 9 years old, get separated at a very young age. And to a guy who sees this as a problem, goes far deeply out of his way to make sure that this family gets back together. And for it to be true in America, for it to be true in these countries, and we can just sit back and ignore it. To call predators, and y'all heard me say predators a lot on my show, to allow predators the space and opportunity to work and prey upon these little kids is horrible. It's not cool. It's disturbing. Now, I've been looking for some other videos to discuss. That's why you seen the video in the beginning, to really discuss and break this video down. And I want to discuss it too. Please leave a comment in the comment section if you feel like this movie needs to be seen, or you feel anything. You feel any type of way about this movie. I'm only playing this clip because this is a clip of two people actually going deep into the conversation. I do got other people that put their 2 cents in. We might go to them and discuss it and talk about it. But y'all, we are marijuanally keeping you connected with news and politics and everything going. Hashtag Red Eye, changing the view with iRed, keeping underage smoking on social media. That's why I'm playing this movie. That's why I'm watching this. That's why I'm discussing it and I'm breaking it down. Let's get further into this. You did? It's a movie, y'all.
So a lot of people have asked me this. As a new mom, I don't think I can emotionally handle it just because of the subject matter. And I cry during Pixar movies. I'd be a total mess.
Well, have you seen Elemental?
Yes, I did get it. I didn't even like the movie. I got teary-eyed. I'm very, very easy.
So I saw the movie. So here's what happens. We're in Bahamas, and we're trying to find a movie theater to go see this. We can't find it. Finally, Tikran finds the movie, and we're like, shit, we're going with 25 of us, and the kids want to watch Indiana Jones. What do we do? So Indiana Jones is playing at 1 o'clock. Sound of Freedom's playing at 2 o'clock. Good news, Indiana Jones is a 2.5-hour movie, which is great because we got like a 30 minutes. So we go into Indiana Jones. We're watching Indiana Jones, and then me, Matt Sapala, Sheena, Tikran, we sneak out, and we go to watch Sound of Freedom. We're sitting there. And from the beginning, you're going to feel the pain of the father taking his kids, a daughter and a son, who is approached by a recruiter saying, your kids can be models, they can be in movies. He says, tonight, audition is at such and such time. Today, tomorrow's audition is such and such time. Father dresses in a suit, takes them to this room, and he takes the kids there. They're excited. Put the kids in the room, and the girl says, come back to pick them up at 7 o'clock. He says, what do you mean? Come back to pick them up at 7 o'clock. He leaves, comes back 7 o'clock. No one's there.
Shut down.
That's how the movie starts.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yes. Yes. The beginning, the first 5 minutes of this movie, y'all. The first 5 minutes of this movie is highly disturbing. And he described it to a T, the first 5 minutes of the movie. It's disturbing to see that this man is banging on the door, like, where are my kids? Then he's banging on the next door. Then he's running down the hallway. He's really running, looking, seeking for help because he's looking for his kids, y'all. I mean, I felt disgusted. It's the word I want to use. I felt disgusted. But this is what the movie is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you realize what's really going on here. It's not supposed to sugarcoat nothing. I don't want no movie to sugarcoat nothing. I want the hard truth and how it is. So when I tell somebody else, hey, this is the hard truth, they can feel the pain because it's true. Not because it's fake or phony, because it's true.
Disturbing. It's emotional. It's tough. It's painful. At the end, Jim Caviezel gives a message. When the movie ends, 3 minutes later, he's given a message, profound message that you have to watch. The stats that they gave, that 20 plus million child pornography pictures were uploaded on the internet the last year, a 5,000% increase in the last 5 years. The idea where they said every year 2 million kids go into trafficking, going into being sold in the black market, and then stats about how you can sell cocaine one time, but you can sell the same child 5 to 10 times a day for 10 years is what you can do. And it's $150 billion a year industry. And Jim is in it, the story of Tim Ballard, what he did. And then while this is going on, everybody needs to go watch it. I want to watch it first. It's a decision you need to make. I want to watch it first. I know what it is to be I don't know what it is to be a mother, but I have a wife that's had 4 kids, and I know how tough it is for a mother to see it than a father. Our perspective is more protective. Mm-hmm. Yours is more, you gave birth, it's your body. I recommend everybody to go watch this thing here and share it with everyone you know, because this is really taking place. This led us to yesterday having a conversation with many of the people in Glendale that are going through the challenges they're having with GUSD. We did the Zoom yesterday. We're excited about launching the event in Glendale. The biggest concern right now is every major hotel will announce what these places are, and we'll give the names out so people know, has said no. Every Armenian hall in Glendale has said, come and do the event on what's going on with LAUSD and GUSD, with what kind of content they're trying to put in the schools. And we will announce the date here very soon. First, we're going to announce it underground because we want the right people to show up. Then I'll announce it publicly. And everyone's worried about, rioting, protesting, all this other stuff. Here's the point. While this movie comes out and it's doing so well, can you show up how Rolling Stone responded to, I send you those different screenshots when I airdropped it to you, what Rolling Stone said about Cuties versus this, what different platforms said about Cuties versus this. And by the way, while you're looking for that, maybe show the clip of the video of what the CNN person said about this, if you know which one I'm talking about, where the CNN is asking a question. So what do you think about this movie? There's a lot of people that are saying that there's some right-wing QAnon, what do you think about this? And this guest, you should see what this guest right there, if we can make that bigger, you should see what this guest says about this movie.
Pretty familiar with him.
Watch this. Go
Can
on.
we play this?
Of course.
Yeah,
Watch
okay.
this.
And you seem pretty familiar with him because he doesn't really hide his association with this real wild plot that involves, drinking the blood of children and things like that.
No, he doesn't hide it at all. And you have a lot of people who are in this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is openly embracing it. He's openly using its catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon, but claim they don't know what it is.
And The Sound of Freedom does focus on a real issue of sex trafficking. But that theme, it's sort of like that kernel of truth that feeds the QAnon conspiracy theory. Tell us how those two things work together.
Sure. And the most durable and the most believable conspiracy theories are not entirely false. There's something in them that is true and the rest of it is false. But the believers point to the one true thing and they say, oh, you don't believe that this particular thing is true. In terms of child trafficking, we know trafficking is real. We know it has real victims. No one is denying that. But these films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these child trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites and only people like Tim Ballard and only people like Jim Caviezel, and by extension, only people like the ticket buyer can help bring these trafficking rings down. So there's a very participatory element. You're not just going to see a movie, you're just killing 2 hours on a hot day. You are helping bring down these pedophile rings and save children. Now, it's not true, but it's a very comforting and it's a very warm feeling.
You know why you have to trust this guy, Pat? He has books behind him. Anybody that sits with books,
smart.
But notice it. If you work out, you're a white ring, you're a white supremacist, whatever. If you're, by the way, this movie was they actually have footage of everything that happened of Tim Ballard because it happened.
Did you see the movie?
I saw the movie.
Oh, you saw it? Wow.
I saw the movie, and I was telling Pat some crazy moments are where they actually had footage, undercover footage or surveillance footage of people in third world countries and stuff going up to people like a kid wanders in the street. They grab them in a van and they're gone. It's not a conspiracy theorist. And then it begs the question when people are like, why does one side want open borders? And why if you think about it, Pat, there's a fact. 350,000 unaccompanied minors come across the border since 2021 till right now. 85,000 of them have gone missing. And then that begs the question, why is one side just like, no, the border's secure. Mayorkas, that little rat. No, the border's open. That is just an inventory of just human beings coming in. And it's like for them to say that it's QAnon and it's fake, it's like they don't want people messing with their influx of children. It's a huge problem. And yes, they made money off this movie, but now look how many people are talking about sex trafficking and these kids. And at least somebody now is opening their mouth. And by the way, this movie was made 5 years ago. I don't know if you guys, this movie's old. Now
which movie?
Sound of Freedom. Yeah.
Nobody wanted to put out. Go ahead, Lauren. Go ahead.
Well, it was made by Fox before the Disney acquisition. So then Disney, they essentially didn't release it. They didn't want to release it. They sold it to this other studio, and the studio actually had to crowdfund to get a theatrical.
It was made through Fox, owned by Disney. And you wonder why Disney didn't put it out, because Disney part of this woke agenda. They're part of this. Man, listen here, y'all. If y'all taking y'all kids to Walt Disneyland, man, you're basically, and I didn't know this, because if I would have known this, I wouldn't have went to Disney World 2 years ago. but you're promoting sex trafficking. That's basically why Disney didn't want to put it out. Or we can assume that's why Disney didn't want to put it out, because they're involved in sex trafficking and they didn't want you to think about it and see.
Release. So that's kind of what's ironic about the fact that it did beat Indiana Jones, at least for one weekend, is that this could have been money going to Disney, but it's also kind of suspicious. Why didn't Disney want to release this movie? Was it not in line with their branding?
And by the way, isn't Disney a kids channel? Isn't it like about kids and protecting kids? So why wouldn't you want to protect kids worldwide? It's not kind of weird.
Perhaps they don't really want to.
And isn't it shocking, Lauren, that they're talking all this stuff about conspiracy? Are you trying to act like Epstein didn't have an island and flew people?
Yeah, that we know this for a fact that this happened.
He was murdered. Don't believe the hype. He was suicided himself. That's all bullshit. CNN producers getting caught left and right for pedophilia. The numbers are staggering. It's in the news. It's not reported a lot. And just perverted people, Pat. To Catch a Predator. You guys know that show?
Yes.
Disgusting.
We had Chris Hansen on here.
Guess what? That show can run every single day for forever, because there's no shortage of pedophiles. The only reason that show stopped is because one of these idiot demons ran in the house and killed himself.
And that's what's frustrating about that CNN guy. He's acting like moral outrage over this is bad or unwarranted. He's asking as if, it's to spread fear. Yeah, you should be afraid for your children. You should be actively trying to prevent this. Why is moral outrage bad when this is something that's objectively evil?
This is an area to be intolerant in, like zero tolerance for this. By the way, watch this. So Rolling Stone, look how different the titles are. Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. The QAnon thing, the thriller about child trafficking, is designed to appeal the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer. Okay, pretty wild. Now let's go to the next one. Watch this next one here. The Guardian. Cuties review. Netflix's controversial child exploitation film is bold, flawed, and misunderstood. Misunderstood. Okay, so here's the next one. Cuties review. A coming-of-age movie caught in the culture wars. Thanks to a major marketing mistake, this award-winning French movie has been accused of sexualizing girls. It's actually a sensitive portrait of growing pains that deserve to be seen. Are you kidding me? Go to the next one. Okay, the human traffic film Sound of Freedom trashed by liberal outlets as QAnon adjacent. So when you see this, then go to the article about Postmillennial that talks about, if you can pull this up, that talks about Rolling Stone editor-in-chief spiked reporting on friend getting arrested for child porn. Oh. This was a story from March of 21st of this year. If you want to go to page 24, if you can pull that up, that picture right there, that's the article right there. I'll read it to you. So Rolling Stone editor-in-chief Noah Shachtman removed references to child pornography charges from a story about ABC's producer James Gordon Meek, who was later charged with possessing child pornography. Shachtman, who was friendly with Meek, edited the piece and urged journalist Tatiana Siegel not to include the words child pornography in the story, claiming that the FBI's interest in Meek was unrelated to national security or journalism. Shachtman's decision to edit the story and remove key information about the child pornography investigation raised concerns within Rolling Stone. Siegel was reportedly not aware of the changes until the article was published and was angered by what she saw as interference. Shachtman justified his edits by stating that Siegel had not adequately verified her sources. When you read this stuff, this is what we ought to be intolerant towards.
Right. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the meme from Oren McIntyre, don't make me tap the sign. And it's just this post that says, it's not that complicated. They just want to diddle kids. And I think we all have a normalcy bias where we would like to think this is just not that common, shadowy. It doesn't really affect our lives. But this is, like you said, it's everywhere. It's very common. It's too common. And there are a lot of policies that we could actively change that would prevent this. Things like closing the border, because there is a huge porous. I mean, I remember what is it? Melania Trump, she got made fun of when she was talking about the coyotes on that recorded tape and how that was an issue. I mean, the left-wing media is like, what does she think's happening? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't have to say anything about it. But the fact that you're even going out of your way to discredit this problem, it's very suspicious. That's all I say. It's very suspicious.
They're protecting their own. Like that's how the left operates for that. And mind you, that guy's name was Miles Klee, the Rolling Stone guy, who locked down his Twitter account like a pussy because he couldn't take the flack of like, you mean to tell me girls twerking is a coming of age in a culture. Like, what the hell?
Would you qualify that as whole tendency for him
That's
to?
a big time
that's
whole.
kinda- okay.
Yeah.
Rob, I just sent you something on how
Unbelievable.
grooming works. Check this out. If you can show this meme here, Rob. I just texted you and I put it on your computer. So the question then becomes the following, right? We got 5 more minutes here before we wrap up. I wish we had more time, and we got like so many freaking stories to go through. But I got 11 o'clock Max 7 call. So if you can pull this up,
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to, before you pull this up, let me go ahead and rumble in the Bronx on some things, let you know, put you up on game on some shit. We have always been told, and we're still being told today, right now as we speak, we are letting this happen. We've been told this, y'all. We gotta let kids express themselves. A lot of kids grew up. You know what I'm saying? From my era on up, parents got soft. And when parents got soft, government was like, hey, this is our chance to get in there and take control of the situation. Parents, we are allowing teachers to tell our kids to be touched in school. Do y'all get that concept? Touched in school. Kids are getting permission slips to come home. Hey, we having this sexual act. You know what I'm saying? We finna spin ya, bend ya in school. And people are okay with this. People are like, okay, this is what's going on. This is not okay, bros. You got paraphernalia, predators preying on little kids every day. And now we about to put a law into effect to where they're going to be able to be free. Do anybody remember Law and Order? After I do this one, I'm going to go to Law and Order and show you how many, the Ice-T, the Special Victims Unit, how many times did that guy, that Asian guy on that show, diagnose a paraphernalia person as a person that just misunderstood a disease, mental illness. Even Martin calls things like this mental illness. But then when you call it LGBTQ mental illness, that's hate speech. I think this is a hate crime that's happening that these kids are being involved in. Kids are being separated. Now listen, y'all wanted to blame that on Trump. Don't forget, Democrats wanted to blame that on Trump. They was like, oh man, Trump's separating kids. No. We were separating people who could not explain who these kids were. Like, you don't belong to these kids alone. We got to separate y'all. If you watch that movie, watch the movie, man. The movie explains sex trafficking, but kids also traffic drugs too in and out of America. It's true. I want y'all to see and feel the hurt that I felt, that I'm feeling for kids. I'm adopted, bro. There's no telling if I got adopted because of what happened, because I don't know what happened to my parents. So when I see stories and I hear things like this, it's just like everything can be taken apart or initiative in and can say that can be happen. I don't know what way we're it out. And that's real talk, man. That's how I see it. That's how I'm looking at it. I don't know which way or how things are going. It's crazy. We are letting kids get kidnapped. We're like, oh, you know what is? Remember the milk carton days? How many of them kids on a milk carton day? And like dude said, To Catch a Predator, that show probably needs to come back on just because somebody committed suicide and killed themselves. But he was a predator. And I know some parents out there like, man, I homeschool my kids. Okay. All right, that sounds good. But then your kids don't know what a predator or what people look like when they're on attack. They don't know how to read the facial expressions of people that are out to get them. Does that make sense? You got to think about that image and that thought process of somebody else's mind. Now, I know people like, man, I would never think like that. I would never think like that. But sometimes I have to think like that because I'm in the surroundings of where I'm at. And I have to look out for the little kid that you see playing around. When you see little kids playing around, you don't see no parents, you be like, all right, where's a creep at? Because you know a creep is it's like, that's crazy. For every area, they got probably 10 kids in it. It's probably like 2 creeps somewhere. For every 20 kids, it's probably 2 creeps. I'm probably exaggerating, but I feel like I'm not exaggerating. I really feel like I'm not exaggerating. I feel like that is like the scenario and the concept. The beginning of the movie shows it. And we're just talking about a movie, but we got facts to back up the movie and the Democratic Party, which here I go. Oh, hold on. I'm supposed to announce that I'm a what am I? What am I? A white supremacist? No, I'm a white nationalist. I forgot to say that. I'm a white nationalist. Let the Democratic Party explain that to you. It goes for anyone. So black nationalist, I guess I'm a white nationalist because I'm a Trump supporter. I really don't know. It's just what's been told and said. But the whole thing is to get back to the kids. We're trying to protect the kid. So they're going to block a person like me out, call me all types of names, so therefore I can't fight and help for the kid. They're going to want to tell you that your kid wants to be gender or binary, so we don't know what it is, what the kid is. And so when the kid's lost in the system or the kid's taking hormone or something that is uncurable, when the kid feels lost in the world, basically when the kids feel lost in the world and the parents are not listening, it's going to go out to the world and be lost and be in this so-called trafficking nasty world that we live in. I see why my mama don't want no president. She just ready for the end. She just ready for Jesus to come back. It's sad to even think and have that mindset in your head that you like, I don't want mankind to try to help fix themselves because they're not going to try to help fix themselves. I'm just ready for the world to end. I would have never thought I would hear a human being say, I'm just ready for the world to end. Like, why are you ready for the world to end? But when you explain things like this that's going on, you're like, oh, that's why he wants the world to end. That makes sense. Let's read and let's finish up this.
Does this work? Is this an effective strategy? Well, here we go. Let me just show you this picture here from a kid in 2015 to 2022. That's the kid on the left, now grown man on the right. Bingo. Grooming works. It's actually very effective strategy. And yes, you can convert due to your environment. I did a video on the history of LGBTQ,
The dark
exposed,
history.
the dark history, and I got a lot of messages about it. People say, Pat, I don't know if you should upload this. If you haven't seen that clip, I suggest you go watch it because it tells you how it got started. and how it was categorized just in 1973, 50 years ago.
I did a report on it in here. I didn't specifically put LBGTQ because they were going, like you said, going to try to take me down. I'm so young, but I did do a report on it. Y'all, I do reports on everything that goes on probably in the world that matters to you. If you find anything out there that matters to you that you want me to do the report on, just so you say, hey, there's a report on there. There's actually video evidence of things that go on that you believe in, please hit me up, message me, text me, call me, email me, get at me. My information is posted all over social media so we can discuss this thing. This is what I do. This is my livelihood. I enjoy doing this to the max. I want my people, my American people, to understand that we are attacked by a whole nother entity that's bigger than the Matrix, bigger than just America, bigger than just you and me. Okay? I want everybody out there to do what they have to do, but stand up for what you know is right. And if you want to stand up for what is right, come join me on this Burn Live show, the Cannabis Conservative Show, on my personal profile on Twitch and Twitter. Let's get into this.
And what's been happening with this level of growth and conversion of people by generations. You know how they say the older generation doesn't give a shit? They're like, the older generation doesn't give a shit what you think about them. Like, dude, if they're going to smoke weed, guess what? Who the hell are you? I'm 75 years old. I don't give a shit what you think about me. Who cares more, the younger generation or the older generation, about what other people think?
The younger,
Younger
1,000%.
generation.
Of course,
all
the
they
older
care
generation
about.
doesn't give a shit. Do you know traditionalists? What percentage of traditionalists? This is a generation before boomers. You know what percentage of traditionalists are gay? 1.7%. Do you know what percentage of Gen Z is gay?
25%.
19.7%.
Wow.
So the generation that cares more about what
Jesus.
people think. You haven't seen this?
That's
Pull this up,
Well, I
Rob.
saw the Bill Maher
The
thing that he did 6 months ago.
generation that doesn't give a shit about what you and I think, only 1.7% of them are gay. The generation that gives a shit about what everybody thinks, 20% is gay. Oh, it's not because of environment they're born this way. Oh, yeah, you're totally right.
There are studies that also
20%?
disprove-
You haven't seen this?
I don't know if you in your video talk about the twin studies that they've done. So they do studies, or they did some studies on identical twins. So if sexuality is inherent, you're born with it, it's in your DNA, you would expect that 100% of identical twins would share a sexuality, i.e. both gay, both straight, what have
Yeah.
you. But what they've actually found is that is not the case. There are many, many examples of identical twins that have different sexualities, indicating that for at least some people, yeah, there is a nurture aspect of it. And what's really interesting is that women, more so than men, were likely to have a different sexual identity than their identical twins. So that means that women's sexuality, or whatever you might call it, is even more fluid than that of men's. And when we see the explosion in LGBT identities, guess what? It's mainly in young teen girls who are saying they're bisexual, they're pansexual, they're gender fluid, or whatever it is.
But by the way, this is the poll from 2021. The one I quoted was from 2023, but even better. Look at this, Gen Z, 20.8% identify as LGBTQ. Look at traditionalists before 1946, 0.8. The 0.8 doesn't give a shit about what we think. Less than 1% of them are gay, okay? The Gen Z that cares about what everybody thinks about them, 1 out of 5.
Well, I think there's a recent report that says for
Okay. Now, I want to go to them because they broke it down. Now, I can go back and do another LBG Dark History just for this segment right here so you can get a hold of it. So, you know what? The reason why because you should go do it yourself, and because it's a lot to digress, and then I won't be talking because I'll be sitting back right along with you guys and listening to it again because it's so troublesome to hear this. But y'all, this is a movie that brought out so many facts and so many people's opinions and ideology and what they really truly think about something. That's weird. I got another one. I'm finna bring up my boy. I really don't bring up. I just don't. I want to hear what this black man got to say about it. OG. at that. And then I'm gonna try to go find somebody young that's gonna
Compromise
talk about it.
politicians and control celebrity influencers? No question. The concealment of the Epstein client list makes that abundantly clear. The same people uprooting thousands of years of gender ideology to accommodate a tiny group of gender dysphoric, mentally ill people strive to minimize the impact of a $150 billion a year industry predicated on enslaving kids. Or how about this? The same people justifying rioting, looting, and massive protests because American law enforcement kills 450 black men a year, a dozen or so in questionable fashion, says the problem of child sex trafficking is exaggerated by conservative zealots. It's all nonsensical until you realize arguing nonsense is the point of the criticism. Sound of Freedom subversively argues something completely different. The movie promotes an understanding of how God wants man to behave in the earthly realm. That message is the real hazard to Satan. Sound of Freedom models biblical masculinity. It depicts man's ability to effectuate good when plugged into the proper power source. Faith in, reverence for, and obedience to God. I don't know Tim Ballard. I've never met or interviewed him. It's my understanding he's a Mormon. We have religious differences. Based on the movie and what I've read about Ballard, we have a shared belief on how man behaves at his highest level. The highest form of humanity is sacrifice in accordance with the will of God. That's what Sound of Freedom depicts. The movie is about a man who jeopardizes his career, life, and family in service to God and his fellow man. In the movie, with the blessing of his wife, Ballard leaves his government job to rescue two siblings who were kidnapped in Honduras. Ballard had no connection to the kids. He hunted child predators for Homeland Security and eventually realized he'd rather hunt for the victims of child predators. The movie makers took the usual liberties with Ballard's true life.
He just tell you about the movie. The reason when he went back to the Black Lives Matter part, the reason why most black people probably ain't really too into a movie like this or are really tripping off something like this, I'm just keep it real. I'm just keep it 100. Niggas here in America don't get kidnapped like that. It's not even a real percentage to say that it's a percentage. Does it happen? Yes, it does. I'm not going to sit up here and say that niggas in the hood don't get kidnapped. It does happen, but it's rare that you finna kidnap a nappy-headed, loudmouth black kid that's running around the hood crying that he wants some noodles and he want a cup of Kool-Aid. Like, you not finna keep him quiet. You're gonna punch on him. He gonna be like, dog, I'm gonna shoot you back. He gonna be 9 years old. He probably got a strap on him. You really got to think about that. He probably thugged out. You know what I'm saying? He probably listened to Tupac. He probably listened to Young NBA Boy. So, you know what I'm saying? He probably put a bullet up in you. That's why you don't really see kidnapping or you hear too many reports of kidnapping in the hoods or in bad neighborhoods. Hell, shit. You really don't hear about it in trailer parks either. Just putting it out there. You know, I know people will probably listen to me and like, man, you be talking some stuff, boy. Are you black? Are you sure you're black? I'm just keeping it real. Y'all don't like me keeping it real, or y'all don't like people telling the truth about things that,
next topic,
that
Sound
we
of
can
Freedom. Have you
actually see that's going on. Then, man, quit playing with me. And that's basically what it is, and that's basically how I'm saying, quit playing with me. This is a 5-year-old movie that Sound of Freedom came from, 4-year-old, 5-year-old movie that 2 other companies had that sold it out to another company that put it out because they felt that this story needed to be told. If this story didn't need to be told, it wouldn't have been told. If somebody didn't think that this was going on, then you wouldn't think this was going on. Now, here's is some, I would say, young black people.
You get a 15% discount. The code is CF2023. Use that at checkout. Yeah, man, just go cop that, man. We've been working real hard to get this different.
Everybody saying they should be alarmed.
Oh, yeah. I want y'all to hear these guys real quick. I want these guys to break it down because they look younger than me.
So it's been a big controversial thing going on. Everybody's talking like maybe it's good, maybe it's bad.
I don't think that's a good thing. They're saying pedophiles are salivating, waiting to watch it.
Everybody's saying they should be alarming for America because like this is what the elites do. They sex traffic kids basically. So Fox News has this guy named Tim Ballard on right now, and he's gonna discuss, I guess, how he feels about the show. I mean, not the show, the movie.
What was that?
I don't think I'll be watching it.
I'm definitely. What was that one movie with?
You hear already? Did you hear already? Did you hear it stop? I'm not gonna watch it. If it's controversial and it's really happening and you guys ain't got kids, you're gonna be alarmed. Now, when they have kids later on down the road and they come back to a movie like this, they're gonna watch it and they're gonna be like, man, I should have watched it then. And I could have been a little bit alarmed. But they just gonna go off of what we've been watching 3 or 4 times on CNN, just somebody's opinion. So, but we still gonna go there.
Halle Berry in it when they took her kids and she was following them.
That was she was the phone call lady.
No, not the phone call. It was another one.
She was the operator.
So what was the one when the wrong lady?
Come on, take it.
Liam Neeson.
Okay.
What's that one? Chris Brown?
No, Taking that's I know what Taking you talking about.
There's multiple takes.
No, not that one. Not that one. It's one.
You talking about when Halle Berry gets the phone call, the girl being trafficked. She stays on the phone.
No, not that one. It was when the dude took the girl and he was in a minivan and like they found the rest of these kids in the woods. I forgot what.
I don't know what you're talking about. Look it up.
Black Phone.
So the difference.
Black Phone is about a kid getting kidnapped in a neighborhood, and he breaks out. They didn't find a kid in the woods. Like, they're so young. I'm not laughing at them, at these kids. I'm not laughing at these kids. I'm just laughing at just how they're trying to really talk about something that's really going on, something that's serious, and they're trying to name off movies. Stop playing.
That's between those type of movies, though. That's why everybody's upset because I think this movie is based off a true story.
Documentary.
This is like a.
So it's kind of like I don't like movies like that because it's traumatized.
It's based off the true story.
It gives me anxiety when I watch movies like that.
Who made it said it was. So what story article was happening about this? Because somebody's gonna report this if this is based off a true story.
I have no idea.
It's probably a Hollywood dramatization of real life events.
I doubt this is in the movie theater, but it might be. I don't know. But it's weird. I don't like movies like that.
Netflix.
Let's see what Tim has to say.
Tim Ballard.
Can you tell me?
On July 4th, the #1 movie in America wasn't Indiana Jones. Disney spent $300 million resurrecting Harrison Ford and releasing the summer blockbuster. But there's another movie dominating the box office. It's called The Sound of Freedom. The film is based off the true story of Tim Ballard, a former Homeland Security special agent who saved kids from an international sex trafficking ring. This movie zeroes in on the multi-billion-dollar human trafficking industry and honors a hero, someone who saved children from sex slavery. But to the media, this person isn't a hero. Someone who rescues kids from pedophiles is a villain.
Wow.
These films are created out of movies.
I guess people. Yeah. Okay. So I guess they're saying the elites don't want people to see these because the elites are pedophiles, basically.
Interesting.
That's what people are trying to say.
How is the person? Yeah. How is he painted in a bad image?
Because I guess they about to get into that.
Yeah. I guess people are trying to paint him as a bad image.
These films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these child trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites
For some reason, the entire media is smearing this movie as a dangerous conspiracy theory. The press is saying that the star, Jim Caviezel, is a QAnon guy, and Jim plays Tim Ballard, which is strange because just a few years ago, the same media was celebrating Tim Ballard's heroics. Watch.
That's the shaman guy.
Tim Ballard has one mission: to track down child traffickers. 4 months ago, Colombian authorities asked him to investigate a tip that children were being sold there as sex slaves.
Within a half hour, this individual walks up to me, starts asking me what I'm there for, what I want, and within minutes, he said, well, I've got kids as young as 11 years old.
So why is the media warning people not to see a movie about child sex trafficking? It's based on a true story. Well, the Spear Fund founder, Tim Ballard, joins me now. So, Tim, why is the media hating this movie?
Is that him?
You know, I can't understand it. The film was made, produced, written.
Now, you would think this would encourage these fellas to go see the movie. You would think it would encourage them to go see the movie. Man, I would think it would encourage you to go see the movie. Go watch the movie.
Like 5 years, 6 years ago, way before anyone heard the name QAnon. I still don't even know what QAnon is. In the meantime, they're trying to connect it to some conspiracy when, in fact, like you said, this is a true story. These are real kids. I mean, these kids are my friends. They're young adults now, the ones that were rescued. They're going to come out soon and tell their story. It's going to be very awkward when the mainstream media comes after these kids next and accuses them of being part of some conspiracy when, in fact, they were rescued from a life of rape. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in the media, perhaps.
I mean, this publication says The Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms, and that it fetishizes the torture of its child victims. Is that what the movie does?
It absolutely does not do that. It tells a story based in truth. And, you know, what I think is happening, Jesse, I think that the left and these media outlets, they don't want to have a discussion that this film is going to compel. A discussion about why 85,000 children showed up unaccompanied at the border and got released into the interior of a country that is the highest consuming country for child exploitation material on the planet. They don't want to talk about why the same publications are pushing an agenda to change the word pedophile to minor attracted persons in order to normalize sexual activity with children. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. And they know this film's going to shine a light.
Okay, these brothers are starting to wake up and see. These brothers are going to wake up and see. Y'all going to wake up and see stuff like this is happening. Now, you may not watch Fox. So you know this not on CNN. You know this ain't on ABC. You know it's on NBC. It's probably not even on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, or Twitter. It's not. Trust me, people that watch my show, y'all not watching this. This is why I'm out here doing this for you. Because you are not up on this. And I just want y'all to see what's going on. I'm just looking out for you guys. Y'all should take a second to really watch some of these videos and watch some of the videos that I do put out. This is really dangerous, what's going on. And he said it right then and there. I'm going to rewind it so you hear it one more time.
On the planet. They don't want to talk about why the same publications are pushing an agenda to change the word pedophile to minor attracted persons in order to normalize sexual activity with children. I think
that right there is where I close my case. I'm closing my case right there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't mean to stay on here all day. I just wanted to really break this down to you. I really want y'all to see what was going on. Please share this video out right here. This is one that I couldn't wait to get up on here and do. I just wanted to make sure I had enough videos to talk about it, to break it down so you can go see the movie. Sounds of Freedom. Go let your friends know. Anybody that got kids, let them know this is really going on. Let's try to help make a change. I'm Another Capiche. Catch me on YouTube. Catch me on Facebook on the Burn Live Show, Cannabis Conservative. Catch me on Twitter, Burn Live, man. Get into it. Until I see the rest of y'all later on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever time you're watching this. Peace.